Hey Karen, Karen here. Sorry I didn't get this to you over the weekend. It's a bit of a crazy time here over the weekend, but I wanted to send you some things to work on. A little options for some tension relief, as well as Sun Salutation A for reference for practice. I had sent you Sun Salutation 1 last week, and then this will be Sun Sal A. Also, just a couple of movements for reference that you can practice. It's a good stretch, but it also just help establish some brain mapping for when we use the positions in the flows. So we're going to start with one really quick thing that you can do, even if you're just sitting at your chair. The other day, I know you had like a lot of tension in the neck and between the shoulders, and this is two really easy things to do to help relieve that tension. One is to just take the fingers, interlace them, and put them behind the base of the skull like we do when we do our abs. Take your thumbs and then just let the thumbs sit right underneath of that little jutting out point. It's called the occipital. Fancy word, right? And you just drop the head, bring the elbows in. You want to gently pull forward with the hands and push back with the head. And this will help stretch out and relieve some of the tension in the neck. That tension is really what gives us tension headaches. So interlace the fingers, bring the elbows in, drop the head, gently pull forward with the hands and push back with the neck. And that'll give you a really nice stretch. And you just hold it for a breath or two and release. And you can do that a few times. You can also turn the head slightly to one way or the other. Again, push back into the hand that's on that side and just hold it, and that'll really help to stretch out and release some of the tension there. Another good one is a scapula scrubbing. So you can take your block and put it right this thin way, right between your shoulder blades. And you're just gonna use that block to scrub the fascia in between your shoulder blades or your scapula. So again, use your fingers to support the head. It's also a really nice chest opener. Feet on the ground, low belly pulled in, and then you just scrub back and forth. And that will get into any knots that you have in between the shoulder blades and just, again, help relieve some of the tension there. So just two quick, really super easy things to do. Another good move for core and for brain mapping and to work on some stability, some unilateral, bilateral stability, is called a bird dog. You've probably seen this before. It's on hands and knees. So wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips, head is in alignment with the spine, low belly is pulled in. You don't want to be sinking, but you do want to stay in this nice tabletop position. And then you slide the left foot back, right arm up. So you don't want to, as you lift, you don't want to let the rib cage pop down or sink in the pelvis. You want to try to keep that nice tabletop position. Just hold it there for a second. Bring those back in. And then the other side. So really focusing on trying to stay in that nice tabletop solid position. The other one that you could do here, similar position, is going to be abduction and adduction, or in and out. So again, you come up, keep that nice tabletop, low belly in, and then just move the leg out to the side, the arm out to the side, back into center and down. You can practice maybe 10 on each side and build up as your endurance grows. Really, really good for core strength, really, really good for stability, which will translate into other movements. The three positions that I want you to just go over are your dolphin, the high crescent lunge, and warrior two. So dolphin we always do in the beginning of our reset, and that's where we come through quadruped. Make sure your elbows are underneath of the shoulders. Interlace the fingers. Drop the head. You can push up through the shoulder blades, curl the toes, and lift the hips. Keep the low belly pulled in. And this is a really good one to help develop your shoulder strength, a little bit of muscle endurance. It's a hard position, but you just do it a little bit at a time and build up. It's not one of my favorites in terms of it because it's hard for me, but it's also just a really good position to practice. Again, so elbows underneath of the shoulders, hands clasped, curl the toes, drop the head, and lift up through the hips. Really concentrating on keeping those shoulder blades on the back to protect the shoulder, and low belly pulled in, and the spine is nice and long. Lower the knees and come back up. Second one is our high crescent lunge. So coming from our tall kneeling position, which is where we come through it a lot, step one or the other foot forward, curl the back toes under, and you can even use a block here if you would like, just on the side. You can rest your hand for a little bit of stability and you rise up. So your feet should be like they're on two separate train tracks. You don't want them too close together. You don't want them too wide. But find a comfortable position for you in terms of right and left. The hip points are facing forward. And again, you want that pelvis, the pubic bone and the two hip points in the same plane. So that means if you need to soften the back leg, tighten the glute of the back leg, think about pulling back on the heel or pulling back on the foot of the front foot just to engage that leg. Keep the belly pulled in, neutral pelvis, hip points facing forward, and arms lift. Make sure the ribs don't pop forward. You don't want to go too far back. But again, think about that nice tall posture in this position. So the ears are over the shoulders, shoulders are over the hips. Think about lifting up out of the bowl of the pelvis for a nice tall high crescent lunge. This is just a great way to practice the position and build a little bit endurance in it. And then our warrior two. So we did this one the other day, and it's usually the way that I find getting into the position to be easiest is to actually face the side of the mat, widen the feet, so the feet are parallel, and then you turn the front foot towards the front of the mat. So you still want to keep the hip points facing the side of the mat, front knee is bent, and it doesn't have to be this huge wide position. You want it to be comfortable and feel stable. Hip points are facing forward. If this feels like a lot of, you want the glutes turned on here, tailbone wrapping down. If this feels like a lot of pressure in the hips, go ahead and turn either the front foot in a little bit so the knee still stays over the toes, or turn the back foot in a little bit. And that should relieve any pressure in the hips. My right leg does not have the same external rotation as my left, so I have a tendency to turn the right foot in a little bit, left foot out, so the knee doesn't collapse in, and arms raise out to the side. And you can reverse, inhale to rise up, and then exhale for warrior variation. In your warrior variation, you still want to be turned to the side. The forearm is lightly landing on the front leg. You don't want to sink into it. Lightly leveraging the ribs away from that front leg. Keep the head and neck neutral, and really let the scapula lift here to give a nice side body stretch. And then this is a great thing just to do a few times to open up the side body and give yourself a little bit of extra space there. We talked about space, give you a little bit more opening, make you feel up a little taller. So those three positions, and then I'm just gonna go through one round of Sun Salutation A. You can do a lot of rounds of this just as a great way to warm up or get the body prepared for some other form of movement, or just as a way to kind of wake up and stretch, you can do sun salutation 1, or you can do sun salutation A. And we begin the same way. Standing at the front of the mat in your nice, tall, upright posture. Inhale, arms. You can let the arms go forward. You want to let the shoulder blades slide away. And then rise them all the way up, staying in that nice low belly in posture. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at the hips. Keep the spine nice and long, so bend the knees as much as needed. Plant the hands, step the right foot back. Nope, I am totally wrong. I'm doing sun sal 1. Let's redo that. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips, bend the knees. Plant the hands. Keep the hands right where they are. At least practice this while keeping the spine long. So really bend the knees if you need to. You also can put blocks under the hands if you're finding trouble hitting the ground. That's a great option too. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back into your nice strong plank position. Glutes are wrapping down towards the heels, pushing through the heels to engage the quads. Low belly's pulled in, scapula are neutral on the back, head is in alignment. Lower the knees, lower all the way down to the ground. Inhale, pull back for cobra. Exhale, I like to come through my knees and then lift into my downward facing dog. And then you can pedal out the feet. Inhale, exhale, walk the feet forward and rise to stand. That's one round. So you can continue to do rounds of that in order to, just get a little extra movement in, some practice. Those are all really great options. I'll have more for you next week. I have like a whole list of stuff, but I don't want to overwhelm you with too many things or too many options. If you have any questions at all, definitely feel free to, as I scooch, feel free to reach out to me. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on Friday. Bye.